The Spitzenkandidat made a statement for Germany that he does not wish for me to meet with Putin and Xi Jinping, saying that socialists cannot accept friends of Putin or the Chinese president. I am not friends with Putin and Xi Jinping. We are colleagues and it is my duty to meet with them.
On the contrary, I think many say it out of jealousy because they will never get within 3 kilometers of them, let alone negotiate matters important for Slovakia.
We have the historically lowest unemployment. We can continue to state, dear friends, that wages will rise, real wages will rise next year.
Similarly, Vakita, we can talk about the fact that there will be great pressure to increase the minimum wage, which is gradually approaching almost 1,000. It is a matter of a short time. We can, of course, also talk about many external factors, but overall, I think that although it was a dirty job, it is not our fault. We did the dirty work for someone else. So I believe that the approval of the state budget, if we manage to do it in a reasonable time, say within 2 weeks, creates an absolute prerequisite for the elections to be in the year 2027. But I repeat once again, I acknowledge that this country faces great problems. We are an extremely export-oriented country.
We are open. We feel anything.
The Working Congress of Smer acknowledges the information about the proposal to exclude Smer, the Slovak Social Democracy, from the Party of European Socialists, the so-called PES, due to the inclusion of 2 genders in the constitution and the party leaders' participation in celebrations of victory over fascism in various places around the world, including Russia and China. The proposal for exclusion is the result of a long-term gradual distancing of the authentic Slovak left from Brussels' ideas about what values and priorities left-wing and social democratic parties should promote. Unfortunately, also about the place of peace in European integration and in peace policy. The Working Congress regretfully notes the Party of European Socialists does not want to allow the presence of Smer representatives at the Congress where the exclusion is to be decided. It should be said that some German colleagues are nervous when we go to celebrate the victory over fascism. The Spitzenkandidat made a statement for Germany that he does not wish for me to meet with Putin and Xi Jinping, saying that socialists cannot accept friends of Putin or the Chinese president. I am not friends with Putin and Xi Jinping. We are colleagues and it is my duty to meet with them.
On the contrary, I think many say it out of jealousy because they will never get within 3 kilometers of them, let alone negotiate matters important for Slovakia.
Until now, the Brussels left does not want to understand, I will call it very politely, that if you want to survive in a specific country, you have to make policy for that specific country. You cannot make policy that is dictated to you from Brussels. It simply does not work that way.
What on earth am I supposed to ignore? Dear friends, if I were to ask you now how many of you go to church on Sunday, maybe 3/4 of you would raise your hand because that's normal, because that's Slovakia. And am I supposed to ignore that? Am I supposed to ignore the historical roots on which this country was founded? Should we pretend that we will be different and re-educate the citizens of the Slovak Republic to something that simply doesn't work? Surely we have other priorities. Leftist politics cannot be about homosexuals. For Christ's sake, who is hurting them? And it's always about LGBTI and LGBTI and LGBTI.
Nobody is harming anyone here. Nobody. And I consider the decision we made after defining marriage as a unique union between a man and a woman, that we established 2 genders and other things, to be extremely important.
The Working Congress instructs all its representatives at all levels of parliamentary and governmental power to consistently promote the concept of a sovereign Slovak foreign policy and positions oriented towards protecting Slovakia's national interests in all areas, especially in ensuring sufficient energy at reasonable prices. Mr. Minister, what is our passport ranking among the strongest? 7th?
8?
Currently 9th, but we are working on becoming 8th.
All right, we have the 9th strongest passport in the world. If you consider where you can go with that passport without a visa, how many?
183 countries.
Out of 183 countries, we have the 9th strongest passport because we agreed on visa-free travel with China.
We have Vietnam, visa-free travel, and there are more and more countries joining, which is very important for mutual relations and for business. Therefore, a sovereign foreign policy oriented in all four directions is not a cliche, it is a real performance that we carry out on a daily basis. We are really struggling with those energies now, really struggling.
I look at decisions that are on Tinto, but this that I don't always understand. Now, a 100% sell against China. We are being threatened that if we don't stop importing oil and gas from the Russian Federation, some tariffs will also be imposed against us.
On the 1st of January 2028, repowering is supposed to start, which means we will not be able to receive Russian gas even through Turkstream as we do today. I am not even talking about Europe. There is a lot of dirty politics involved, and it is not about any principles at all.
Everyone wants to profit from it. Unfortunately, we have gone from being a country at the beginning of the pipeline to a country at the end of the pipeline. And when you're at the end of the pipeline, you can have big problems.
We cannot support repowering, nor will we do it. We know where we stand and what we want, but we cannot agree with every nonsense. That's our sovereignty, that when something happens in the Union, we come and say we have a different opinion on it.
And we have the right to a different opinion. And we sent about 6 tons of humanitarian aid to Gaza, 6 tons of humanitarian aid. It was dropped by parachutes over Gaza through Jordan, and hundreds of families in Gaza certainly benefited by having basic food supplies available. That is an approach.
Let's also not get used to it when we have made a clear statement regarding the war in Ukraine. We will not supply or donate any weapons to Ukraine, and that stands. If someone wants to buy, well, let them buy, go ahead, because if we don't sell, someone else will. But we will only help where it is humanitarian.